New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you.
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
We need to address, well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country.
Asian Americans have weaponized our proximity to whiteness in order to murder Black people. George Floyd and Latasha Harlins should be here today, but they aren't because of our individual actions and our collective inaction. We can't just blame white people for pitting us against each other either, because the fact of the matter is that Asian cultures have a huge colorism problem and a huge problem with Black people.
Lee County grand jury indicted a former Auburn student on 6 capital murder charges on August 20th after a husband and a wife were harmed repeatedly in Auburn back in October of 2020. Zhao Bin Wang, a Chinese foreign exchange student in Auburn University, was initially charged with 2 counts of capital murder and 1 count of attempted murder in connection with an October 22nd, 2020 harming of Li Jun and Zhang Wu in the Oak neighborhood in Auburn off of Richland Road. Wu sustained about 60 wounds that night after police stated that the Auburn University student Zhao Bin Wang broke into her family's home and then took the life of her husband, Zan, before wounding her 23 times. While Zun passed because of his injuries that night, Wu received treatment for weeks before being released, but later passed away in March of 2021. Quote, after she passed, we decided to present the facts and the circumstances surrounding the event that happened in October and the facts and circumstances surrounding how she passed to a grand jury and let them consider all of the evidence. The grand jury, after considering all of the evidence, returned 6 capital murder indictments against the defendant. The original charges against Wang were for capital murder in front of a child less than 14 and capital murder committed during the course of a burglary. After Wu's death, Wang has now been indicted for the previous 2 charges as well as capital murder for 2 or more persons and gets the same capital murder charge for each victim, adding up to 6 capital murder charges totaling. Police pointed to the displaced molding on the back of the door of the house where the death occurred as evidence of forced entry, and they found evidence in multiple rooms in the house downstairs area. And this is according to Auburn Police Detective Levy Donnelly, who was called as a witness in Wang's preliminary hearing back in December of 2020. Quote, there was evidence from the front door area throughout the living room and the kitchen, really the whole common area downstairs. Wu heard a knock on the front door that evening of October 22nd and saw Wang, whom she knew because he had lived with the family earlier this year as a renter. Donnelly stated that Wu called her husband to come downstairs, and while Zhang was trying to turn on his phone, Wang entered the house through the back door and then harmed Zhang in the back. After Wu attempted to intervene, police stated that Wang also harmed her as well. Donnelly stated that the couple's 2 children, ages 8 and 5, were downstairs when the assault began and followed their mother's instructions to run outside. Auburn Police Lieutenant Michael Creighton, who was also called as a witness, stated that Wang took an Uber to the residence of Wu and Zhang the night of the incident and tried to decide what to do with the children on the ride over. Quote, he had to live there for some time, so he knew that there were children in the house. After the couple were harmed, police state that they received a call from Wang, who told them that he had took the life of the family and asked them to come to the house. Quote, I killed them. I killed the family. This is not an accident. I killed them myself. I wanted to kill them. When police arrived, Wang did not resist arrest and complied with officers, according to police. An arraignment for Wang has been set for September 3rd. So this is my question here. Where is everybody at? Where was all of those mouths, right? Where are all of those warriors that, were going for the AA community? Where were all of those supporters and those friends and the families, and where were all the people marching and protest? This is what I'm talking about. So when it's a crime within proximity, right? When it is a Asian man doing this to another Asian man and a woman, magically everybody's silent. Magically everybody's quiet. But supposedly, everybody is against things that happen to the Asian community because of hate. This right here, in a sense, would be hate. This Asian man hated those other people so much so that he decided to commit to a violent act against these two individuals, so much so that he not only took their lives, but he also negatively impacted and affected the two children that were there as well. So where is all of those voices? Where are all of those quote unquote allies? Where are all of the videos to support and to speak out against what took place here on Twitter, on IG, on TikTok, on YouTube? Where is mainstream media when it comes to covering this story to make the Asian community aware of this horrible crime that took place? Where are they at? Because it's pretty interesting, right? That as soon as the money came in, as soon as the laws came in, that all of a sudden, all of that attention and everything that was there for that 15 minutes of fame all disappeared. All of those magical attacks that were happening seemingly died down, right? They weren't getting as highlighted as they normally were. Because when they highlighted a lot of these attacks, right, they made it seem as though these were happening literally every single day of every single waking moment. That's the way that they portrayed a lot of these things. I even covered another video where you had an Asian man literally in so much of, I guess you could say, a frantic type of rage that he attacked one of his own people, thinking that she was a Caucasian woman. So my question would be, how many of these quote unquote allies, right? How many of these advocates for the Asian community, right? How many of these TikTokers, YouTubers, Instagrammers, and all these other individuals, right? How many of those people spoke about this story? Matter of fact, how many people in the Asian community actually talked about this story? Here you have, right, a Asian man who specifically attacked an Asian woman, one of his own women, and stated that he wanted to kidnap her, cause harm, because he thought that she was a random white woman and he was doing it for revenge for racism that was taking place specifically towards the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. How many of those people were really talking about this? How many of those people really made videos about this and really tweeted about it, really made YouTube videos about it, right? How many of these people really made sure to put this, right, and send this to mainstream media so that they can put this all over the news? They didn't. I promise you they didn't, because I covered this story and there was not a lot of outlets that were deciding that this was an important story that really needed to be covered. And then on top of that, social media wise, they're seemingly were pretty silent, on the fact that this is something that an Asian man did to one of his own women because he mistook her for a white woman. But like I said before, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm looking at this through the wrong lens. Maybe I didn't, look at all the sources, all the comments, and different things like that, right? Like I said, I'm only one man, only got, one pair of eyes. But like I said before, people need to look at a lot of these things whenever some of these stories, right, seem, so huge and bigger than life, and they're doing this repeatedly. You have to pay attention and really think, why is it that the media wants me to specifically pay attention to this? Is there really something else that I should be paying attention to? This is when people have to start critically thinking when it comes to a lot of the stories that the media decides to push forward. Because if the media is not doing this every single day, then why is it at this specific time they're choosing to do it? Is it because of money? Is it because of this is what is popular? Is it because this is going to get people to emotionally react and trigger something for another purpose? Like, what realistically is the purpose for them putting these stories out? But as I would normally say, he don't look black to me. So this also counters the argument that they continuously will put out that, oh, African Americans and the community, need to really come out and speak out, because there's a lot of anti-Asian racism and hate that is going on that, they need to specifically talk about, and all these other things. But when it's somebody within the Asian community, which technically should be labeled Asian on Asian crime, but it won't be because there's really no branding and they really can't monetize it, right? So when it's something like that, why isn't there a conversation that should be held within the Asian community as to not harm your own people, as to not be a detriment to your own community, as to not cause a loss of life or lives within your own community to people who look exactly like you? Like I said, it's pretty funny how those conversations, those commercials, those narratives never seem to come up when it deals with specifically certain groups, right? But they always want to bring that up when it deals with Black people, as if people realistically care what it is that Black people are doing. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.
Have blacks been pitted against Asians?
We need the Black community to realize that that Black people are hurting Asians, and they need to speak out in their own community.
Our communities are not reporting these incidences. We don't want to cause more trouble, more attention to our communities.
It strikes me that this is the Asian equivalent of the talk that African American parents often have to have with their children.